How's it going, everyone? Paul with Adaptable Survival, and in today's episode, let's take a look at a rare military backpack. So I'm sure you've seen the title, the thumbnail, so you know what pack we're talking about. This is the Marine Corps ILBE main rucksack. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, Paul, that's not a rare backpack. You can find those a dime a dozen all across the internet, surplus stores, gun shows, eBay, all over the place. And that's true. You can find the ILBE main ruck just about anywhere nowadays, especially since the Marine Corps has phased out the use of these in favor of the FILBE, which we'll take a look at in another video. But this one is a little bit different from those standard ILBE packs. This is actually the Recon version of the ILBE. Now, there's not as many of these ones out on the market as your standard ILBE. So I'm not going to run through all the specs because y'all are smart. You can pull that up on the internet, read through those. But the Recon version is just bigger than the standard version. I forget the exact cubic inches and liters, but it is a tad bit bigger. I am going to take out all the stuff I have packed in here for shooting videos today, throw in something else on the inside to kind of get a full picture of what this fully looks like when it is packed out. Hopefully my head's not getting cut off in the screen here, but I took out the stuff that I'm carrying around to shoot some other videos today to fill this up with another item from that ILBE gear set family. But as you can see, I mean, you have tons of space with this pack. I was just looking at the specs again, just so I can kind of refresh my thoughts before we dive too farther into it. And this is about 90 liters. Your standard ILBE main ruck is about 75. So you're gaining about 15 liters of space in here. I figured what we would do is we'd run around the outside real quick, talk about a couple of key differences between this and your standard before we take a look on the inside. There isn't a ton to talk about on the inside, but I have some sweet tips and tricks for you once we get in there. But as you can see on the face of the pack here, let me undo the lid. You actually have a full panel of MOLLE PALS webbing. Now, if you look at your standard ILBE ruck, there is a flap that is right about the middle of the pack on the face that comes up, and that could just be there to store whatever gear you wanted to really attach to that backside. I've never had the standard version of this rucksack. I've always had this Recon version. This is actually my second one. About, I don't know, probably 8 years ago I sold the first one I owned, and I kind of regretted it, so I tracked down another one and pick that up. But you'll also notice you'll actually have double buckles everywhere. There's buckles on the front side here, and what that's really designed for is the Recon version, if I could speak, has a beaver tail that runs from about here all the way up. Now, I never found myself really needing that, so I'm not even sure if I still have that or if I sold it. I have no idea where it is. I haven't come across it in my gear room yet, so I'm thinking I sold it, but I don't remember. Outside, so we can see down here, you have two pockets. Now, that's one of the downsides with the ILBE that stops it from being a really, really great pack, amongst other things. But the pockets themselves, so I just have a heavy cover titanium canteen in here, and you can see there's plenty enough room in there, but the problem is there's not enough height with this pocket. So the problem you always have with these side pockets is if you put a bottle in there, there is the chance that falls out. this over on the other side. We look on the other side, I have just another standard titanium bottle about the size of an Nalgene. Same thing, you know, we put this back in here and it's going, you know, most of the way up on the bottle, but you do have some play in here. You could actually get 2 bottles in here, but you still run into that same problem. As you're going, as you're rucking, as you're hiking through the woods, those bottles can pop out the side of there. To combat that, you could always put that sideways, but I don't know. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. To me, I usually just, if I'm using this ruck, I'll just toss whatever bottles I'm using right in the main ruck itself. On the bottom side here, you do have 2 grab handles sewed in. So if you're unloading this off on a truck or something, you can grab those. You do have 2 straps that come across the bottom. In theory, you could undo these completely and strap a bedroll to the bottom. Personally, I don't like strapping a whole lot to the bottom of my pack. What I've found over the years is unless you have like locking buckles or some sort of system that's not going to come undone, eventually these will work themselves loose and whatever you have hanging on the bottom is going to be banging you in the back of the legs. Got your lid, which we'll zoom in, take a look at that in a hot minute here. Got a handle on the back side as well as 2 handles on the sides here with this rubber. It's almost like a water hose. And though it's nice because you can always grab this, flip it over, get your ruck on that way. Same thing with the handle. You could grab both, swing it around, put it on. Got nice padded straps here. That's the nice thing I've always liked with this pack. This back panel, shoulder straps, and the belt have a ton of padding because this pack is modeled after the Arc'teryx Tora Bora. If you look that up, you look at them and they're almost identical packs. I believe it's a Tora Bora, but the pack itself designed by Arc'teryx, but it was actually manufactured by Proper for Marine Corps contract. You have load lifters up top here, so you can get that load to sit just right for you. You do have some adjustability in here because you can tear this up and move the panel up and down. You can remove the belt if you really want to. A ruck this size, I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but you could. Belt, this has an attachment point there. I mean, you would need some sort of sleeve if you wanted to attach anything here, so that's kind of a missing point in my opinion, is not having something there, but may or may not be needed. And then just on the side here, we do have a panel that has some webbing here, but this also passes through. So let's say we were running tripods along the side, axe along the side, saw along the side. We could put that down through there into the pocket, strap it down, and we know that's nice and secure for whenever we may need that. Before we start zooming in here, you do have on both sides, you have these zippers that go down the side. That opens it up so you can grab whatever you may need. Again, the zipper pulls have that rubber hosing as well. So you have 2 on both sides. Let's get this zoomed in here and we'll take a look at a few other things. Again, just to get you a little bit closer up on the side here, that panel on the standard version, there's like almost like a pleather, some sort of fake leather on the side here to kind of protect against abrasion. That pocket, and then that zippered portion to the inside. And we can see we can stash your standard canteen in there, or your standard Nalgene sized bottle, but you have that risk of this popping out. With either or, the canteen sits a little bit more flush, so not quite as much of a worry, but you still have that concern of smaller things popping out of here. So just be aware of that if you do pick one of these. So let's take a look at the lid here. So nothing too crazy. Got some molly across the top here. Do have a zipper pocket. We'll flip that around in a hot minute here. But on the bottom side, there's nothing. But what I like about this lid is that outer fabric basically creates a little lip that will sit right over the top of this ruck, which is one of the coolest designs I think I've seen for the brain on a pack before. A pack, I'm not Canadian. Sorry to any Canadians watching, not hating. Then you just have the lid and SN number, manufacturer, design bar, Terex, all that, lot number, all that fun stuff. Flip it around. So this lid has this huge pocket up top here. But what I actually have, obviously have some first aid items in there, but I also had that in my camera bag in the top of here. So you can fit a ton of stuff in here, which I like. You know, I like to have a lot of quick access items on the top, especially like my first aid and my camera equipment. It just makes it, when I stop, pull that stuff out, a lot easier to get to. But the top lid here, you do have a strap that comes across, buckles, and then you have this nice big snow collar. And I think this is where a bulk of that 15 liters comes from, is this, they extended up this top portion. We look on the inside here, got the Eagle Globe and Anchor, Proper International Incorporated, you know, same tag as you had on the bottom side, except this says Recon main pack. So gives you the whole NSN number. And then you fold this down a little bit. What's nice is you do have 2 drop holes on here as well. So if you need to just do the top, you can do that. If not, you can do the bottom. Now, typically, as you see, I have a pouch here. You're gonna have these 2 buckles that go to the inside compartment. The standard pocket that comes in these packs, both the regular and this Recon version, it's good, but if you look it up, there's 2 holes in the corners, so you can't really put a lot of different things in there. It basically has to be nice and big so it can kind of stay trapped in there. What I ended up switching over to, because I did buy the Corpsman assault pack, the Marine Corps Corpsman assault pack years ago. I think I ended up selling or trading that off, but I just found the panel that I had that comes with that pack, and what I use that for now. So you can see with that pocket, you have 2 mesh zippered pockets, as well as 2 like little dump pockets here, and then little pockets on the back side of that. So you have tons of storage on this panel. And what's awesome about this is you take this, and this will actually buckle perfectly into the buckles in this pack, or your standard ILBE rucksack. And now what I can use this for is I can use this for any items I need to readily use. I can, you know, fold this up and then attach it whenever I need to, or just let it run free wild in the inside. Gives you some more organization inside of this main compartment. And then if I get to camp, I can always unbuckle this, move it to wherever I need to. I have a few things in here for other videos, but nice little hack if you're looking to buy one of these and kind of upgrade it a little bit. A well worth upgrade in my opinion. And now let's talk about the bag inside the bag. All right, so I took this dry bag that I was using kind of to fill this out so you can kind of see the shape of it. Now this is the ILBE waterproofing bag for the assault pack. There is a version that is specifically for the main pack. Works really, really great. Very, very similar to this, if not the same thing, except for one feature, which I think this makes this dry bag significantly better than that one. But you do have the same air purge nozzle here that you can tighten, untighten to let the air in and out. But the feature that separates this from that one is when you flip this inside out. So as you can see, it has a high-vis orange inside to it, as I'm killing my knees on the ground here. But this is really, really handy now, because now we have a signal panel built into our dry bag wherever we may go. And I'm pretty sure that's why the Marine Corps designed it this way, especially since this is supposed to be used in the assault pack. It gives you a signal panel for airdrops, signaling for rescue, anything like that, without having to carry anything extra. Now, this is 2.5 feet-ish, maybe 3, by about 1.5 feet. So, I mean, it's plenty big enough. We can take the buckles, strap it around something, put the stick on the inside. Now we can use this as a big signal panel. Obviously, collect water in this if we had to. I don't know if I would necessarily want to boil water in this, but I'm sure if you got crafty, you could. But in my opinion, just having that orange interior is a game changer for this bag over the main ruck bag. Enough about that. Let's wrap up on the main ruck itself. I'm sure this video is getting long enough. But as you can see, there's a few differences between this and that standard version. This Recon version, how it came up on my radar is I watched a show, what was it called? Ultimate Survival Alaska, I believe. It was on Nat Geo, and I think it was the second season when Rudy Reyes was on there. He was actually using one of these without the lid. And that kind of got me intrigued, because I was like, well, that one looks a little bit different from your standard ILBE. So I started digging around online. Sure enough, I found out there was a Recon version. That was back in 2014, I want to say, maybe 2015. Picked up my first one probably shortly after that. I ended up selling it a couple years later because I wasn't using it enough. And then the nostalgia bug bit me, and I was like, man, I really missed that pack. I want to get one again. So I tracked this one down through a seller on Facebook, and he was actually issued it, but they never ended up using it. I think they were using some other packs in his unit, he was telling me. But I got this for, I want to say like 150 bucks. And this thing was basically brand new. Other than not having like the manual that comes with it, this thing, you could never even tell it was used before. So I'm not saying you're going to find one for an excellent or brand new shape for 150 bucks. You might get lucky. These prices on these fluctuate. I've seen them as low as 100 all the way up over 300. And it's just like any other piece of military surplus gear. The prices are always fluctuating. The market's always fluctuating. So just because I got a really good deal won't necessarily mean you can find one. But you keep an eye out long enough, you can find something. Now, I like this a lot. There's some downsides though. Obviously, being military surplus, it's really heavy. I think this sits in weight-wise right around 9 pounds. So yes, we can backpack with it. Am I going to want to do a through hike with this? Absolutely not, because that is an ungodly heavy pack for a through hike. Not impossible, but it's heavier, and when there's more modern options that are lighter. You have to remember, these things came out pretty close to 20 years ago, and for the time, these were like cutting edge. And I think that's why I ended up buying a second one, and why I like this pack so much is it gives me kind of that nostalgia of when I was first getting into the outdoors and camping and survival and all that, about that time frame, because that's when GWAT was going on. That's when they were using these. And then a couple years later, you've seen them on the surplus market. And I think that just always stuck with me. I've always been pretty partial to Marpat as well, the Woodland Marpat. At first I didn't like it, but it grew on me, and I kind of come to really, really like it. I do wish I could find some pouches for this. They do make some sustainment pouches for the ILBE system, and I kicked myself to this day because I did have a set of those at one point. But about the same time I sold my first one, I sold those as well. And those things are super expensive for what they are. They're like, for a set of them, you're paying at a minimum of like 200 bucks. I think when I bought the two that I had, I bought them through two separate sales, and I wanted to say it cost me like 250 bucks for this set. There's some other makers out there, but they're still charging like $100 for them, which is absolutely insane. Do me a favor, if you know anyone that has a line on some Marpat, Woodland Marpat pouches, let me know down in the comment section down below. I just wanted to do a quick video on this. Well, quick being maybe not the right word, but I wanted to do a video on this pack because it's a fairly rare pack when you compare it to your standard ILBE main ruck. I do have a couple other rare pieces of military gear that we will be talking about on the channel. I did use this in an overnighter a few years back, a winter overnighter, when I made a wiki up with an Arcturix blanket. So if you go back, I think probably 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years at this point, you'll see me packing in with one of these. And that's where I think this thrives best, as like a winter pack when you're carrying a lot of bulky stuff, a lot of heavy stuff, because the weight carrying capability of this pack is like 120 pounds. So more than any civilian's ever going to carry, but you have that ability to carry that much if you need to. So let me know in the comment section down below, have you ever used one of the Recon versions or the standard versions? Also let me know what kind of rare military surplus gear y'all are using or you know of. I'm always on the market for finding rare stuff like that. Number one, I'm a pack junkie, but if it's something that's hard to find, I kind of chase those things down. And we'll see some more rare military gear in the coming months as we move along. Let me know in the comment section down below what y'all using out there. I really enjoy your comments down there, the support. A few bad apples in there, but we'll deal with them as they come. Do me a favor, hit like, share, and subscribe. That gets more eyes on the community that we're building here. Helps bring people into our community so we can grow our knowledge base and learn together and grow together. As always, this has been Paul with Adaptable Survival. Adapt your mind, your body, and your gear.